My name is Dr. Jane Kukat. I was born and raised in Tiati, specifically Chemolingot. Growing up, we had a lot of challenges. As you can see, this place is not an easy place even to live. There is drought. Then there are so many challenges as women that we face. One of them was the FGM, Female Genital Mutilation. By then, I think it was around 1998 when I was in class 1. And so many classmates of mine by then, they were being taken for mutilation. After being mutilated, they were being married off. So like it was a sign of wealth. A family could gain wealth easily from the girl child. My father really saw that and he was like, no, I don't want my children to go to the same direction. He was taken to school by some missionaries who are in somewhere called Cosite and Capedo. And these people, they managed to instill that culture of education in him. And that really helped us to go to school. Actually, all my siblings, they were well educated. We are 9 of us. 4 girls and 5 boys.
Niliamua kuachana na hiyo mambo ya utamaduni kwa sababu jambo la kwanza, mimi kwanza ni Mkristo. Na hata walikuwa wanasema ati nimeharibu pesa, nimeharibu ng'ombe, nimeharibu kila kitu kwa sababu wewe unapeleka mtoto shule ambaye ni msichana. Na hii mali angeleti ni ya jamii.
The stigma was so real. You are not cut. I mean, you are not even supposed to be sitting with us. You are not supposed even to be among us because you are a caste lady. I schooled here, class 1, class 2, and class 3. My father took us to a school in Baringo. It's called Kimalil Boarding Primary School. And that's where I started my class 4 up to class 8.
Niliona sana akifanya kazi mpaka saa 3, saa 4. Mama akitumia yeye sana. Anaenda busi, anaenda kuni, anapika chakula, hata anachelewa na nilikuwa nimeweka shule. Nikaambia mama, umetumia huyu mtoto yangu sana, nataka nipeleke podi. Mama alinungunika, anasema anataka kukaa na mtoto yake maana ni msichana. Lakini msichana alisaidia mimi, akasema hata kama yeye ni msichana ataenda podi kama wale wa ndugu zake.
I did well. I had 356 marks and that was some good marks at that time. In Kapropita, I think I was among bottom 10 to be called there. By the time I was finishing Form 4, I was top 5. And I came out of that school with a very good A-, of which I really wanted to do medicine. In Kenya, I was not able to join medicine like through the Joint Admission Board. I was called for public health in Moi University, but now I was telling my father, no, this is not what I was meant for. I really want to be a doctor. But luckily I got this letter from the Turkish government scholarship, and I was just like, wow, what I've been praying for is there. I have gotten it. So I went to Turkey in 2009, September. After doing Turkish language for 1 year, I went and I started my medicine from 1st year to 6th year. Imagine, that's a total of 7 years. There was this young lady from Tiati, the very hardship-heated area. That's like, you rarely even see rain here. You rarely see rain. And then you go and get some snow. It's snowing literally, it's white all over. It was very difficult even to just get used to it. Finished, came back to Kenya. I've been in Moi teaching and referral since 2017 September. So I went there first as a medical intern. Internship was intense and it was so good. And then the CEO of MTRH retained us. Thanks to him, and right now we are medical officers in MTRH. I work in ICU at the moment. I'm an ICU doctor. If you really count the number of years I've studied medicine, it can go closely up to even 9 years of achieving the dream I dreamt about when I was a young girl. I used to really pray and I used to really manifest it almost all the times. Even when I go to the toilet, I was like, wow, Jen, you need to be a doctor. Even when I was herding cows, herding goats, during those times, during droughts, I was just like, yeah, I will be a doctor one day. And I remember in 2000, there was a very, very bad drought in this area. Fetching water from very long distance. We were herding cattle very far. And you see, that one didn't stop me. I used to just sing, Jane, one day you will be a doctor. Jane, one day you will be a doctor in this place. And yes, here we are.
Mtoto yangu alipoenda ng'ambo na amerudi vile alienda, nimefurahi kama wengine wangepotea na wasungu, angepotea nini, lakini furaha hiyo imeniongeza zaidi. Yeye ndio alikuwa msichana ya kwanza kuwa daktari kwa sehemu hii ya East Pokot. Na wakati ninapoongea na marafiki zangu, ninaambia ukitaka mtu ile anakusaidia, somesha msichana. Hii wanaume hata akikusikia wewe ni mgonjwa afike haraka, lakini msichana atakufika. Unajua hapa kwetu watu wananyanyasa wamama kwa sababu anatoa ng'ombe yake, alafu wanaambia mtoto, mama, usipofuata maneno yangu naweza kupika wewe, hata naweza uwa wewe. Si mimi nilitoa mali yangu. Niliambia hao wasichana, someni ili wakati wewe umeolewa, hata wewe ni ofisa na bwana yako ni ofisa na mnaheshimiana. Haiwezi kuwa yule anaitwa housewife kama wale ambao yetu wengi ambao tunayo hapa. Halafu baadaye si ameolewa na daktari mwingine. Sasa nina watoto yangu madaktari wawili.
My name is Chesang. I'm married, a mother of 3. I grew up in Marsabit County in a village called Karare. And my story is all about FGM. Killer holiday, especially December. That's when they do the cut. So babanga ananiuliza tu, uko tayari? Nikaambia tu, hapana, bado. My sister, when she was getting married, same morning, ndo alitairiwa, alibleed. Aka nikaambia, oh my God, this is what girls go through. They bleed like this. Then, oh my God, I will not do this thing. Same day, ndo alipelekwa kwa mzee. I finished my primary school. I went to high school. Nikamaliza college. I'm a banker by professional. So 2010, nikaajiriwa kazi. So that 2010 is where that now I met my husband. I took him home. Nikaenda kumintroducea my parents. So after that, story kaanza. The FGM sasa.
When I was in school, there is something I observed that Maasai girls don't go far. They used to drop out in masses in class 6, 7, 8. I'd learned about female genital circumcision and its link to early pregnancies and school dropout. I resolved that I will not marry a cat girl. I will fight female genital mutilation and I will work for women empowerment from my community. I had not met the girl I will marry by then. So I set the bar very high for myself because all girls have been cut. Once we agreed that we will marry, I told her, yes, we will marry, but you will not go through this practice. You are not going to be cut. I broke the news to him. Told him, Dad, I know we are going to do the dowry negotiation. This girl has not been cut, and I want to marry her and cut. Hell broke loose. My father refused to eat the food that I had ordered. He became mad, furious. He started insulting me. So I told my uncles, they also started complaining, abusing me. How can you do this? And why are you telling us this? This is a shame. So I told them, now this is my choice. This is what I want. Let's go negotiate dowry and let's leave girl circumcision to that family. That is the approach they used to convince my father to accept going. And we went to Marsabit. We were received very well. We started the process. It went down well, the number of cows, sheep, and everything. It was a smooth discussion. My father-in-law, he pointed to me directly. So he told me, young man, I want to tell you right now, I can give you this girl for free as long as you allow me to perform FGM. You cannot deny me the honor. And there is a special necklace they normally put on their head and apply some oil as a sign of blessing, and they put some green grass, and they put on a special regalia showing that they have performed an important cultural practice. And this is what my father was longing for. So I told them, allow me to pay their bride price, all their cows in January, and then in March, because we plan to marry in April, in March, Josephine will take a leave, and then you will cut her 1 week, 2 weeks before our marriage date, the wedding day. They were very happy. They laughed. They were very excited. I could see everybody. My father was happy.
Pressure all over.
From who and who?
From my parents, from the community within, the villagers around, my relatives. Yani tunaweza payana aje msichana hajatairiwa. Tunaweza aje kula sherehe ya msichana mwenye hajatairiwa. Kuna mama amejitolea sasa. Kaanza kunibuku. Plus there's a campsite sasa now. My mom alikuwa na yani baka ulcers. Baka akuli chakula. Kwa sababu sasa baba anampatia pressure. Unaona msichana yako sasa hataki kunisikiza. My dad alinikasa kabisa. Akaambia mimi sipeani msichana enye hajatairiwa. Sipeani layoni. Layoni ni kijana, mvulana. And my brother also was supporting me not to do it. Lakini sasa after all, ameona sasa pressure imekuwa mingi. Yeye akajikata. Akasema nyinyi all the best. So after mimi after sasa imekuwa too much. Nikamwambia Parsanga, can I just do it? Wacha nifanye hii kitu hii pressure ishe.
I told her, if you give in, I will not marry you. I was that brutally honest. So in January, we went back home, we went back to Marsabit, and I paid the bride price. I knew by paying the dowry, they will have given out their daughter because they have then consumed the bride price. So what next? So it was a trick that I was playing.
Ndio sasa my dad ameona Kweli msichana anaenda kabisa bila kufanyiwa hiyo kitu. So imebaki 2 weeks. Ndio yeye mwenyewe ndo alinipigia simu. Akaniambia msichana wangu, sasa kwa sababu umekataa, you have won the battle. So I'm coming to give you out. Know what I did? I cried because sikuwa naamini baba yangu anaweza nipeana kama sijafanywa hivyo. Traditionally kwa Wasamburu na Warendile harusi inafanywa kwa kina msichana. Lakini sasa kwa sababu tulikataa hiyo sheria tukafanyia kwa kina kijana. So they travel all the way from Marsabit to Loitoktok hapo Kimana.
We organized a big wedding because Josephine and I know that this is the only wedding. The next things they were hearing, Josephine is pregnant. The next thing they are hearing, we are inviting my mother-in-law to come because Josephine has delivered. My father was very annoyed. My father-in-law. And he was traumatized. But then he loved her daughter very much. He loved me so much, and we continued supporting him. We continued talking to him, and he started healing. He accepted that he has been cornered, he has been cheated.
For 5 years after my wedding, ndo nilirudi nyumbani. Sasa hiyo niko na watoto wangapi? 3. Imagine ile upendo yenye tulikuwa naye, because I was the favorite daughter. Ikarudi tu normal. Actually, hata before he died, he passed on last year through throat cancer. Nilikaa naye hapa kwangu. He blessed us. Akatubless kabisa ile ya tradition. Ile anachukua maziwa, anakunya hivi, anatemea na mkono. That's our blessings. So hata kama hapo sasa mimi nikajiambia kama kuna kasa alikuwa ameniwekea, at least sasa ameosha because ashani bless.
Katika rika yake yeye ndio wa kwanza kukubali kuoa msichana ambaye hajatahiriwa. Na hiyo imelete positive impact na imelete pia negative hata kwa upande wake. Lakini kwa sasa hivi yeye amekuwa kama kielelezo na amekuwa yeye ndio amekuwa kama tegemeo katika hii community. Hata mimi mwenyewe nimesema siwezi kubali msichana wangu ateketu.
My name is Zaituna Abdullahi. I am born and raised in Marti, a village in Isiolo County. Growing up here, 50% of my girls of my age underwent the female genital mutilation. I am lucky because my parents decided that I will not undergo the cut. My mom, she's not from this community.
Nilikuwa naishi na mother-in-law. Mimi nilikuwa najitenga kila wakati kwake sababu mimi mwenyewe sikupitia hiyo mambo ya FGM na sikuwa naelewa, na niliolewa nilikuwa young. Sasa nilikuwa naogopa wakati mwingine anidharau, aseme mimi sio mwanamke tosha. Saa zingine nilikuwa naogopa kimila culture yao, pia mimi niambue nipelekwe. Niko na wasichana 3. Kati wasichana wangu walifika miaka 10, 9, 8, kulikuwa na pressure nyingi. Nyanya walikuwa nataka wafanywe hizo mambo ya FGM, lakini mimi nilikuwa sijakubaliana na yeye, na kwa hii community kulikuwa ni lazima. Hata nikienda safari, ukifanya hivyo tutakosana na wewe kwa maisha, na naweza hata kukupeleka polisi. Na vile bwanangu alikuwa tumekubaliana na yeye pia alikuwa hakutaka.
When I went to school and I started talking to my friends and they now started sharing their experience. FGM has a lot of complications. For some it is immediately, because when you're cut, you might overbleed and die. You're taken as a group of girls and then you cut, your legs are tied, And then they dig a hole, and then there is traditional medicine that they put inside the holes. They light fire in that hole, and you sit on it for almost 1 week, so that the wound can heal traditionally. When I started now advocacy work, and I started reading about it and hearing stories of other women, so I was triggered, and I started also encouraging women in my community to share their stories. The stories were so sad and horrific. What motivates me to talk about my story is my late dad, because for him, growing up, I've seen him giving back to the community and working with the communities. They knew him as a person who used to talk about FGM. So they used just to say, no, it is our dad who has also influenced the daughters to talk about these things. I never received that backlash from the community. I went to campus, even far from my home. Now I'm working with a local organization, a Merti Integrated Development Program, as a girl officer. I'm simply working with adolescent girls, 10 to 19 years. They are the girls who dropped out because of early marriages. And you know, early marriages is connected to FGM. Tusome, tusidanganywe na wanaume, tusome. They undergo several trainings, life skills trainings, sexual reproductive health, financial training, and changing their mindset, and now telling them that they are the ones now to have that responsibility now, because they have not gone to school, but they need to take their kids to school.
My name is Domtila Chesang Chepatula. I'm from the Pokot community, and I'm an anti-FGM activist. I grew up at the time where FGM was a normal thing, where every girl older than myself had gone through FGM. And in fact, all the older female members of my family have gone through FGM. I knew that a time will come when I will be put through FGM, and I was so happy about it. I was so excited. I was looking forward to the day I will be cut, because of the attention you were given, the gifts, the ceremony, the celebrations. The Pokot community, my community, they do the type 3 of FGM, which is called infibulation. And it's done in 2 stages. There's a first stage and there's a second stage. The first stage is like a slight cut, and this is where all the members of the public are allowed to witness. And then the second stage is done in a secluded place, where only women who have gone through FGM participate. So I got a chance to sneak to the second stage, where FGM, I call it the real cutting, or the real butchering, or the real FGM happens. My cousin was lying down there in a pool of blood, and women had overpowered her. So she was screaming, but her screams were being covered by the singing. The circumciser was cutting, pieces of flesh from her body, from her genitals. So that's when reality hit me really hard. And I realized that it wasn't just the celebration and the attention you're given. So I ran all the way home, and I questioned my mother. I just told her, I don't think I want to go through that thing. And she was like, okay, but I was not convinced. By the time I was about 12, I left home and I went to Ortum Girls, which was then one of the best boarding primary schools around. And I hid there, and they accepted me. And because I was also doing very well in my studies,
So I became one of the best performing pupil in that school. So I attracted like attention from well-wishers who even supported me through school, through primary school. Being in Ortum Girls, I was exposed to other communities and other cultures, and at least being in a school, nobody asks you about FGM. So I just felt that it was the safest place for me, where I could just be a child, I could just be a pupil. During the holidays, I will stay with my half-sister, who was married around Ortum area. So I stayed with her for about 2 years, until I was convinced that I could go back home over the holidays, and nobody was going to pressure me to go through FGM. I never really experienced anybody coming to me or attacking me or stigmatizing me that I have not gone through FGM. It wasn't direct. But I knew that deep down they had that feeling that, I'm a coward. But I accepted it. I was okay with being a coward than lying in a pool of blood. After high school, I joined university, being among the very few girls from my village to ever go to university. So it gave me like a status or another platform where I could come back home and be heard and talk to other people, and they could listen to me. So I got involved in mentorship programs. First of all, I was exposed to other opportunities, and just like that, I found myself now, doing more activism.
My name is Agnes Bange. I'm from Kuria community, the community that cherishes FGM. I'm working with the Department of Gender and Equality, Migori County. In our family, we are 4 girls. I can say the entire village and also the ward. Many people, they know that in Bange's family, girls are not circumcised. During the circumcision period, we do get a lot of problem. We are really stigmatized, and they really abuse us. They do call us names. They say that we cannot get a man to marry us. When I was in class 8, during circumcision period, people came to our home, throwing stones to our house, saying that we must get circumcised because it is the tradition, we must follow it. If we cannot follow it now, we have to look for another place to go and stay there with our parents.
It was very serious in the community. Hapo vita sasa ilianza. Niliitwa na wazee kabisa kwamba nimeharibu mila na desturi. Na mimi nikawa na ujasiri, nikaambia okay, nitakuja kwenda, lakini we shall talk. Jambo la kwanza, I'll come with a Bible. Mimi nikawaambia sisi watu ambao tumeokoka hatuendi hiyo. Na hiyo tena ikakuwa ni vita kubwa. Wanajaribu waibe wapeleke kwa lazima, nao pia wanajizuia. In fact, kutukanwa na girls and whatever, madhihaka, hiyo iko mpaka leo hii. In Kuria land as a whole, we do have many girls ambao on the beginning wanasikia ile hisia ya kutokuenda kutahiri, but when it reaches time, hiyo girls na matukano, madhihaka and whatever, inafanya wengine wanaanza kudrop. Lakini wale wanasimama na neno la Mungu, na tena wakuwa supported na parents. Kwa sababu bila parents kusupport, she cannot stand.
I thank God because of our parents. They told us that even if they will not marry you, you will still get people from outside the community, and they will marry you. If we get educated, we will go far. we will get good jobs. Sisi si tuliumbwa na Mungu.
Hers has been a story of triumph against societal stigma that has eventually seen her become a role model in her village, where she conducts mentorship programs which involves training the girls on their rights and, most importantly, dangers of female genital mutilation.
Utandikwa kazi.
Dr. Jane Pokot never imagined a life beyond her tiny little village in Tiati, Baringo County. But she has made history and is setting an example for a whole generation of women. Girls there still struggle to acquire an education owing to cultural beliefs that have restrained them from going to school. However, the doctor hopes to use her position to reverse this.
Being the first female doctor from this community is a privilege. It's really a privilege. And I really thank God about that. So many young girls are looking up to me, and I'm like a role model to them.
Today, she's visiting Chimolingot Primary School.
Dr. Chen Chepkopus was our people here. Since standard 1, the ECD class, she was here. She was very disciplined indeed.
Through sharing her story and regular mentorship, she can help these girls realize that an alternative future is possible.
At the time I was index 5. Okay? Now I 300.
Chen's life have influenced the life of our school girls. Now everybody is saying that if Jen went through all these challenges and she's now a doctor, what will prevent us?
They also look up to you like you are our savior. I wish we get more doctors in this region, especially women. I still feel like I need to give back to the community. I have not really done enough. I had gotten some few of some medics in this region, and we were planning maybe one day we set up a hospital somewhere between Marigat and Chemolingot. So yes, the dream is still there and we are still working on it.
Parasanka has made the battle to end female genital mutilation his top goal in life. Young warriors are respected and have influence in the community, so Parasanka has spent time working with them.
Once we have a new age group of Morans that is ready, they have gone through Moranhood, girls have to be circumcised so that they get wives. So they create the demand. Their voice is very important. Their voice is paramount. Their voice is needed right now. So we have to engage them, and we have to create a platform for them to come to the forefront and actually make honest declarations.
Vile tumeelimika, tumekuja kugutua ni vyema kuiachana nayo. Sasa sisi tukianza kukataa wasichana waliotairiwa wakose mabwana, hakuna mzazi atawasubutu kutairi msichana wake kwa sababu atajua atakosa bwana. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio njia rahisi ya kuachana nayo. Japo ni ngumu kuisha masaini, lakini tutangangana kuimaliza. Hiyo ndio lengo letu.
Unapenda kwa mtu ambaye hata wewe mwenyewe hujaiona.
His wife is also a powerful voice against the cult.
I inspired a lot of girls from my community. Kuna huyu cousin yangu ameenda bila kutairiwa, and now she's married with 2 kids. And kuna little sister yake pia hajafanyiwa hivyo.
Dropping of the school. Stopping. Let us save our girls.
After all that I have undergone, I'm now mentoring girls. Wasi undergo FGM, na pia most of them wasifanyiwe child marriage.
The Pokot woman is not empowered. The Pokot woman has no say. The Pokot woman is not supposed to be heard. She's only supposed to be seen. So they are totally dependent on the man. So they cannot question what the man decides. If the man says, I want to marry off my daughter at 10, then the woman cannot say anything. If the man says, I want to marry 5 other wives, the woman cannot say anything.
Beads are not only a form of beauty, but they also form an integral part of their life and culture. But for this generation, beading is playing a new and much-needed role. The women converge here on a daily basis, adorned in colorful beaded necklaces, headgears, brass jewelry and big looped earrings. Through the Ushanga initiative, the women who are actively in the string beads industry have been trained on how to produce quality artwork for global markets.
So I introduced this economic empowerment for women, beads for business, so that the women can be able to make beads and they can sell them and then they can earn money, so that they can even start saving for their children. And the speed that they have embraced the program is just amazing.
Currently, the group has 40 women from 4 different villages. Among them are 5 reformed circumcisers. She cannot say with accuracy the number of girls that have passed through her hands in the name of initiation, but says they are in their hundreds. That was before Cheprongo Muto saw the light and became an anti-FGM crusader instead.
Tinamita soye mong tanyele serwan terut lane takuwa katawaya kan to tabanyo karam to we tata ngapain to yim mong kila stewan terut kam nganyan tom nyele stewan kimwan jan la kat we tanya tayi angos takatagten watang.
Since quitting the practice, Muto says she has not suffered for lack of income and is able to cater for her basic needs through selling jewelry.
Mbabe tuni ya boss iswanete kama kule swinde mkulimani itinoni yote bingala joni makuminya joto gyoto kujoni partanyi mantale weta kanisa weta besiara paketo kule linye pakaran amalo to sala neta tasa kaya ko ngala karan tasa nyuka ko mantale to nyorua kona kyo matanyu janya bakai mo mitanya ko ngala janya.
Social economic empowerment is instrumental in the abandonment of female genital mutilation, as this gives the survivors, who are women and girls, the capacity to stand up against the violation and speak for themselves and others. Domitil has been able to penetrate to some of the remotest parts of West Pokot County, like Kotulpoko in Masol Ward, with little resistance.
Kotulpo village is a village with no school, with no health facility. There is completely nothing. They have one water point which they have to share with the animals.
Some of the staunchest opponents of girls' education in her community are now sending their daughters to school.
We had 1 girl, we had 6 girls, 10 girls, and then we went to 14, 16, now we have 20. All of them are in Ortum Girls Boarding Primary School. And more girls now develop the interest to go to schools. We were able to convince 3 parents to give us 3 girls who were so determined to come back with us. If you have to choose between leaving these girls in the village and exposing them to the risks of FGM and child marriage. So these young girls, they are about between 7 and 9 years old. They will be able to go to school. So, but it wasn't an easy conversation. In this school, Ortum Girls Boarding Primary School, we have a total of 46 girls. 20 girls out of the 46 girls are from Kotulpo village.
For the girls, this is a new beginning. Before, they stayed at home herding goats. Back then, the dream of getting an education seemed far-fetched and unrealistic, but now it is a reality. Their parents have a promise to keep, a promise that they will not be married off as children.
This actually is the first cohort to ever step in a classroom. Few years to come, they'll be going back to that village, the village with no school. They'll be going back as teachers, the village with no health facility. They'll be going back as nurses, as doctors. They'll be going back with the vehicles and all, different professions. We constructed this building that is behind me, which is meant to be a dormitory or a safe house. But sadly, the project, as you can see, has stalled. We don't have any funding to complete it.
For her continuous work to empower girls, in 2017, Domitila was among the 60 Queen's Young Leaders from the Commonwealth world honored by Queen Elizabeth. Female genital mutilation is the ritual cutting or removal of some or all of the external female genitalia. Procedures differ according to ethnic groups. The practice has persisted for more than 2 centuries because of strong social cultural beliefs.
Ukioa msichana ambaye hajateketwa unaweza patikana hata na laana. Unaweza usipate watoto. Hivyo ndio tulikuwa tunaambiwa na mababu zetu. Unaweza watoto wako hata wasifaulu katika maisha. Kuna mambo mengi ambaye zilikuwa zimewekwa, ambaye ilikuwa inakufunga macho. Tumeanza kubadilika kimawazo kwamba tukianza kulimit watoto wao kufanya vile sisi tulikuwa tunafanya tukiwa katika umri wetu, then tunaua dream zao.
FGM affects the physical and psychological health of girls and women. In some cases, girls can bleed to death or die from infections. It can also cause psychological effects and lifelong painful conditions such as fistula and fatal childbirth complications. The enactment of the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act 2011 was a key milestone in the campaign to end FGM in the country. This law imposed tough penalties on perpetrators of FGM, prohibited cross-border FGM, and barred medical caregivers from carrying out the act. The law stipulates a prison sentence of not less than 3 years or a fine of 200,000 shillings. A person who causes the death of a girl through FGM can be sentenced to life imprisonment.
The law in itself is not enough, but it is a deterrent. So a girl will now use this law to say, though our culture says it is normal, it is against the law of the land, which now supersedes the cultural norms or laws within the culture.
So we have decided to use a strategy that is the stick and the carrot. So we have the stick, which is the law, but we also have the carrot, which is the community dialogues, where we are able to really engage the communities to stop on their own volition to cutting their girls.
The country has continued to witness a steady decline in the prevalence of FGM, with the 2014 Kenya Demographic and Health Survey placing the national average at 21% among girls and women between the ages of 15 and 49, compared to 27% in 2008. Despite this, FGM is almost universal in some communities, such as the Somali, which has the highest prevalence rate at 94%. In Samburu, the rate is about 86%, 84% in Kisii, and 78% among the Maasai. The FGM prevalence in Pokot stands at 77%, 75% in Kuria, 31% in Meru, and 27.7% among the Kalenjin. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, 4.3 million women and girls in Kenya have undergone the cut.
We need to have both, the ones who are not cut in this campaign and those who are survivors, those who have been cut, so that all of us can work together towards having a generation that is free from female genital mutilation.
Anti-FGM campaigners are now using varying strategies to engage men in the fight against the cut. Through continuous dialogue, they have managed to create a conducive atmosphere of trust and confidence to discuss these culturally sensitive issues.
In our earlier interventions, we concentrated on girls and women, and they don't make such decisions. Cultural decisions, no, it's men. And you have to take this conversation under the trees. Culture is designed, is drafted, is edited under the trees, not in conference rooms. It's only men who can stop some practices and who can adopt new practices.
The silence of men is what is contributing to the continuation of FGM. So we show them films, we demonstrate, not like cutting anybody, but we have models. So we demonstrate to them that this is what happens. FGM is not equal to male circumcision. It is not, and it's been really encouraging how the men have been involved. Even when we have the women meeting, the men will always be somewhere there.
Religious leaders and other cultural gatekeepers hold the key to the abandonment of FGM by entire communities.
We have parts of the religious leaders that still say that FGM is part of our religion, and we have another group that is saying FGM is not part of Islam. So there's a lot of confusion.
If it was acceptable in Islam, it would have been practiced in the strong Islamic countries like Saudi Arabia, in the Middle East and Pakistan, where this thing is not practiced. So it has no basis in religion, and we have reached this resolution during our national conference of religious leaders and Council of Elders some years back. So we are therefore urging our communities not to practice this. It violates the girls' right.
Low literacy levels and lack of political goodwill are among the factors contributing to the high FGM prevalence in the 22 hotspot counties.
You know, the issues of FGM is talking about our sexuality is not something that everybody would want to talk. It's considered a taboo.
FGM is like castrating a man. If today men were told you'll be castrated, everybody would speak about it. Yeah. So what we are telling men is that they are our brothers, they are our fathers, they are our husbands. Let them come out, whether you are a politician, you are a religious leader, you are a father in a home, please just give the instruction that your daughter should not be cut. And FGM will be zero within no time.
There have been significant achievements, with President Uhuru Kenyatta committing to ending FGM in Kenya by 2022.
This is not an easy task that we are undertaking. In order to achieve this goal, we must initiate community-based programs that are culturally sensitive and encourage change in social norms. I am confident that we are on the right track and that we will achieve zero FGM in Kenya by the year 2022.
So what the president said when he said that he wants zero FGM by 2022, it doesn't mean the 21% to come to zero, because 21 still remains. But we are talking of new cases of cutting.
All elders will have been reached with community dialogues. We can end FGM by 2022.
I know we are somewhere, but we are not yet out of the woods. But we are working towards that. We have the anti-FGM committees from the sub-county, county, up to the ward level. I know those are strides. We have the Kajiado anti-FGM policy, that's an achievement.
The Boranas in Marsabit, the Wazis of Kuria have also made a declaration, and the Pokot elders made also a declaration. It was done in West Pokot. Of course, the other one was which was done by the Samburu Council of Elders, and we are still working at other communities to make a declaration.
Worrying trends are also emerging, such as the medicalization of FGM, girls cutting themselves, increased cross-border FGM, cutting of married women, and the cutting of younger girls and infants.
We still have villages that still records up to 100% prevalence. So if these campaigns on FGM had been started long time ago, but in the places, the remote places where FGM is happening, there'll be no FGM happening in this year. So even the dream of ending FGM by 2022 will have been possible.
Statistics show us Kenya at 18% of medicalization. That's very high. In the Kisii, Nyamira counties, Garissa, Narok, Kajiado, Taita Taveta, those are some of the counties that we are seeing a rise in medicalization.
A 2020 report by UNICEF cites Kenya as a regional champion in the fight against the cut compared to other nations in Eastern and Southern Africa. While eradicating the outdated practice will be a long-term effort, an all-of-society approach is critical in reversing and eliminating perceptions that hinder positive change. Ultimately, change will only come when the people are involved in all ways.